All right, everybody, let's get started here. We are amped to all be here. My name is Johnny Immerman. I am a huge Diana Shula-Coes fan, as all of you are going to be by the end of this. I met Dee about so many years ago from Andrew Bobbin, who is on this call as well with all of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you guys for everybody for coming tonight. Diana is one of those people, everybody, who you're going to hear more about. We're going to hear some other stories tonight. But what she's done for the kids of Chicago the last 20 years is absolutely remarkable. She pulled me in, she pulled a lot of other people in. And I'm honored to be one of the board members on the team over here. And so all young people, we need young people. You guys are going to learn more about the mission tonight. And Diana's going to share a lot about her story and everything that she's going through with younger onset Alzheimer's and all the challenges and all the journey that people go through and what we can do together as a team to make this journey better for under other families. And that's what this is all about. And Dee is sharing her story and others again as well. And together again, we can make a big difference in the younger onset of Alzheimer's. So let me turn it off right there to an awesome human who's going to share her story. Erin Wold out of Chicago. Please, let's flip it over to you.
Thank you. I'm Erin. I'm here in Chicago, originally from Kansas. And I was lucky enough to meet Diana while we were sitting at a bar during COVID. And actually my friend here, Diana shared her drink with her because she had to go home and take, well, not shared her drink, but she gave her drink that she ordered to my friend here, Abby, because she had to go home and take care of her husband, Lorenzo. And as she was sharing her story about her husband, Lorenzo, it really hit home with me because my aunt was diagnosed with Alzheimer's-like dementia early in her 50s, and we've been on this journey now almost 13 years. My aunt is now 67, and we are at the end of our journey. And something that no one should go through alone. It is a family journey. And, you know, I thank Diana for putting this together and Lorenzo's house together, because it is something that it really hits home and something that I wish our family had when my aunt started her journey and our journey 13 years ago. So thank you, Diana. Thank you, Lorenzo's house. And thank you for having me here tonight. And I thank everyone for being here tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to Giovanna in Los Angeles.
Hi, everyone. My name is Giovanna. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. It looks like we got some awesome people in the house. I love the couch of four. Shout out to you guys. My name is Giovanna. I'm 28 years old, and I got into this space because I started off as a caregiver when I was in high school, and that experience literally changed the whole future of my career. I knew I wanted to help people, but when I was really helping someone get through their day-to-day life as a caregiver, it really opened my eyes to the real challenges, the stuff that we take for granted, like getting out of bed and brushing our teeth. I mean, tying someone's shoes, getting someone their favorite meal, warm meal, and a beverage, things like that. Wow. I was able to help people. And I said, you know what, I'm going to dedicate my whole career to this stuff because I had so many questions about Alzheimer's and not a lot of people had answers. So I said, whoa, I'm young. If no one has answers, we got to get answers. So I decided to become a solution, and I went to school and learned about preventative care, brain health, how we can lower our risk of getting cognitive impairment. And for those of you who don't know what younger onset Alzheimer's is, it's a dementia that it can be any form, and it's in people under the age of 65. So when I was a caregiver, I worked with people, you know, in their 70s, 80s, and close to like in their 90s. And younger onset is what we're here for today, because now we're seeing it more and more, even though it's less common, we are seeing it come up more and more in people in their 50s, their 40s, and sometimes their 30s. So we got to get solutions. We got to build community. We got to help these families out because it takes a village. And I know you guys know that. So I joined this cool group called the Youth Movement Against Alzheimer's. It's this young organization that, you know, they're advocates. We go to Washington, D.C., and we really tell Congress, we got to make some changes in policies. And through that involvement with that organization, I was connected to Lorenzo's camp, Lorenzo's house. And that's how I was able to meet the beautiful Miss Diana. So I'm so glad that I'm able to be part of this community because, like I said, it takes a village. So all you guys being here really means a lot to everyone putting on this event, you know. So yeah, your advocacy is super welcome. You know, if you guys need support and anything like that, we're here for you. But it's really important that young professionals really get involved in this stuff, because people think that Alzheimer's is an older person's disease, and it's not. And one motto that I remember is, we're creating a future worth remembering. You know, when you're losing your brain and your brain's actually physically dying against your own will, it's really terrible. And so let's band together, let's build community, let's build support, and join together. So thank you all again for being here. And I'm gonna pass it on to the founder of Lorenzo's house, Miss Diana.
Hey, thank you, Giovanna, so much for the intro. Thank you, Erin, for being here. And thank you, Johnny, for opening up. Hi, everybody. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy lives to be here tonight to support Lorenzo's house. It means the world to me and to so many families who are walking this journey, living with a younger onset diagnosis of the family, which is really what I call it. I think just before I even start, I'd love to have you see where everyone is coming from tonight. We have this cool heat map of folks who registered. Let's bring up that fun heat map. Check that out. Is that so much fun? Look at this. I think we have like 12, 13. I know, give it up. I wish we could hear people. It's kind of this quiet party, but I'm sure it's not quiet in your homes. Anyway, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for registering. Thank you for coming tonight. This is way cool. And then check this out. We are an international crew here. So we've got Canada here. We've got England. We've got Belgium, Australia. And what is that little one up there? Is that Ireland? I don't know. I don't know my geography. Anyway, thank you for turning on the lights for Lorenzo's house tonight. Thank you so much. And I wanted to just spend time telling you pieces of our story and the story of, you know, so many families who I'm getting to know in this journey. So I got lucky with love 30 years ago, the night I moved to Chicago. Actually, I met my beautiful husband at a blues bar at 2 a.m. Yes, young professionals. It's not exactly where you want to tell your mom you're, you know, meeting the love of your life, but I did. And fast forward, we now have we have true love. I got really lucky. We have 2 beautiful sons who are now 20 and 16. And we have a crazy little dog here. He's not here. Oh, there he is. He's sleeping now. And we have what I call this diagnosis of the family, younger onset Alzheimer's. And it really shifted our entire family dynamic. And it was kind of overnight turned our lives upside down. And when this happens to a family, it's sort of like this new identity that you carry that almost becomes who you are. And that didn't feel right for me. With Alzheimer's comes isolation and pain and stigma and all of these words that are true, are real. You can't escape that. But at the same time, I think both my beautiful husband and our sons, and I knew that we had to stay whole on this journey and flip some of that isolation to connectedness and some of that pain into joy and that stigma into acceptance. We had to figure out how we were going to walk this path that was really, it's complex and it's confusing. And while I was in denial for quite a bit of time, and I took my kids on that journey with me that no, this is really not happening to us, or we were going to be the first family on this globe to beat this. after about a year and a half, we kind of had to reroute and think, how else can we meet this diagnosis and respond to it in a way that that isn't letting it just happen to us? How can we still live and dream and find light in our lives, even though there's so much sorrow? What I realized quickly is that there is a gap, a real gap in innovative care and connectedness for families like ours, specifically families when this diagnosis hits a family when they're still in a younger and they're raising kids in their middle of careers. It is a niche of the Alzheimer's community that is unseen and under-resourced. And while there are spots around the country and globe where they're doing some work in this space, there isn't one place where families can go who are getting a diagnosis at 35. That is what's happening right now in so many places. I'm talking now to neurologists at hospitals across this country, and they're finding that younger onset dementia is happening at earlier ages, and there's an uptick in this. So they are coming back to me saying, Diana, continue to be a social entrepreneur because we have no place to send families right now. So as I'm learning and I'm experiencing this gap, and I'm, trying to be the best care partner I can for my husband and manage a career and be sort of the breadwinner and try to be a good mom and try to understand what I'm trying to absorb, what I'm experiencing, let alone trying to be there for our sons who were walking so bravely and continue to walk so bravely this journey. And try to manage the complexities of this. I knew that I wasn't alone. I knew that there were other people like me out there, but I wasn't connecting with them. And my sons wasn't connecting. They weren't connecting with them. And I thought, okay, maybe, just maybe I could take a few of my skill sets, because we all have a few. And I thought maybe I could make meaning of it all by asking myself, how can I turn all of this sorrow into something that could be healing for the world? And selfishly be healing for me and my husband and my sons. Then ultimately where we are is the big dream is that we can touch families everywhere and be a hub of connection and care for families everywhere, locally, nationally, and globally. And so I imagined a place where families like ours could belong and build alliance and find community and walk together, not alone. I often talk about that. If there's one thing, you can't measure this. There's not a metrics or a tool that you can measure, but it's when you know that there are people out there walking your similar journeys, there is so much power in that. It helps you walk this path and it gives you a strength that I never knew I had. So in part, I look at Lorenzo's House, both our Care Angels programs, our youth programs, and that connectedness is just sustenance. It's so critical. It's so critical. And when I meet someone who's walking this journey similar to mine, we become instant siblings and sisters and brothers in this space. And so the idea of Lorenzo's House is that, our tagline is we bring light. Again, shifting that narrative of what Alzheimer's, when you say the word Alzheimer's and dementia, everything we conjure up is so dark, right? And it's true, it is dark, but let's flip the narrative because we're still living, and let's try to find the joy and chase the joy and see the good. So that is our tagline. Our mission is that we at Lorenzo's House will empower families living with younger onset through our holistic supports. So when I was thinking about this and visioning it up while I'm sitting on the couch with my beautiful husband, who I'm crazy about, this is 4 years ago, I thought, okay, can we have a place where we can, that can really hold the whole family, not just a place for Larry, or not just a place for my sons, or just a place for me, but a place that could really hold and embrace the whole family. And I have visioned this place called Lorenzo's House, and the rays are up here now. We call them our 4 rays. And our 4 rays are our youth initiatives. And these are providing young caregivers, right? Our young caregivers out there today, when you look at our boys, and I have watched how our boys have absorbed this and are walking through it. Not only do our boys watched, and kids everywhere who are walking this journey, do they watch out for their parent who has been diagnosed, but they're also watching out for the parent who's the care partner, right? So now they've got that double caregiving load. They're watching, my boys are watching Papa and they're also watching Mom. So that's a lot of additional stress and pressure when they're just trying to find their way as kids. So the idea of this young caregivers group is that there's this urgent need for support, so kids can process their experience and build this alliance and foster that next generation of informed and inspired young thought leaders in this space. So that is our youth initiative. So many cool things going. We had a camp and now we have a light club. There's just good stuff happening there. Another one of our races we're calling Lorenzo's Angels, and that's rooted in a really cool existing proven model, Immerman Angels. That's Johnny, the guy who opened up, my brother from another mother, and our board member. Johnny started Immerman Angels over a decade ago, where he connected in the cancer space, cancer fighters to cancer survivors. And he would have this mentor match so that, again, no one had to walk this journey alone. Similarly, we're taking that model and we're going to build that out in the care partner space. So we're connecting care partners to care partners so that we don't have to feel isolated in our homes, that we know that we're connected. And so super powerful, super cool, and a lot of work to do. Another ray is our Memory Academy. And our Memory Academy is a place where my husband can go and it can be a place of learning. I can remember Justin and I visited a few places where we could have an adult day program. And I just remember Justin empathizing with me in a couple parking lots after we left, saying this isn't good enough. It's trite. It's not good enough for my husband, who's an intellectual, who's kind and good and wants to grow. And even though he has this brain disease, it's beyond dignity. It's that we can still learn and we can still engage. And when we think about the Memory Academy, it's going to provide personalized and innovative alternative traditional adult care. And it's going to be rooted in innovation and social emotional learning. And it's beyond dignity. It's about we are still learning and we are still living. And so the Academy is going to be amazing. And it's going to be a place where so many families are going to be and feel good about that. And then our Healing Spaces are our last piece, which is it's providing care partners a place for respite. And sometimes an hour of respite means the world. Through wellness practices ranging from yoga and meditation and painting, conversations, social events, both virtual series, our light boxes, which are going to be sent in the mail, and then in person, eventually in person attached to the Academy. So that is when we say I imagined a place and we're imagining a place, this is the dream of Lorenzo's house. We are 10 months old. We are an infant. And yet we have we've made a bit of an impact. And one of the things that I'm so, what has exceeded my expectations in 10 months is that the number of inquiries from families like ours living with this diagnosis who are needing help and support. Both care partners, spouses, and youth. And I'm also, what's exceeded my expectations is the number of experts in the field who are so enthusiastic about what we're doing and that there's such a need. Like I didn't know, I'm not an expert in this space, nor will I ever be. I'm an expert sort of in the home with my guy. And even then I don't know, but I'm fascinated with how many experts are reaching back saying, Diana, this is so important. This is so important. I'm just trying to keep up. Okay, let's get the right people on board. And then the last piece I'm so taken by is the number of volunteers calling and people calling saying, I want to get involved. Whether it's giving $10, whether it's wanting to drop something off for camp, people want to get involved with places where they have a relationship with the cause. And sometimes when they don't have a relationship with the cause, or they have a relationship because, all of a sudden they just learned about it. But when I look at these last 10 months and what I've learned is that we at Lorenzo's house are really filling a gap. And that is a place where, and when I think about the aspirations 5 years from now, and we have kind of have this vision of 5 years from now, and I'll kind of round it off with that is that we will be the place where families with younger onset go locally, nationally, and globally when they get this diagnosis, so that they have the resources and the connection and the support and the knowledge and the information. And so we'll have, this is the idea, 2,000 families empowered, 80 loved ones in Memory Academy, 200 respite healing spaces experienced, 50 meaningful partnerships and collaborations. Maybe we should up these numbers. 1,000 care partner to partner connected, 60 therapy dogs. Of course, we need a lot of therapy dogs. We're into therapy dogs. 150 youth united, heard and inspired, and 5,000 volunteer hours invested. So those are the aspirations. That's the dream 5 years from now. Lorenzo's House is trying to bring light to a space that is so often too dark. And tonight, you all coming here as young professionals who have so many places to be, and you were early in your careers where it's like, where are you going to place your time? And Johnny had said earlier, my whole world has been in urban education for 30 years, and I chose urban ed. I chose kids, and I love just, my whole thing was about fighting for justice and bringing equity to classrooms and kids in under-resourced communities. That was my life and love. And I chose that. This Alzheimer's chose me. Sometimes your cause chooses you. Sometimes you just your life kind of takes a turn you never thought it was going to take, right? So, when life throws at adversity at you, the question is, how do we turn it into something bright, and something good and something that can serve others? So that is what Lorenzo's House is going to be. So I'm loving y'all for being here tonight, and I'm just super grateful. And I'm going to hand this off to amazing Becca, who is my niece and who also is just really got a heart that can hardly fit in her body. She's such a good human, and she's such a beautiful soul. And I'm so honored to call you my niece. Sister Becca, I'm going to hand it to you.
Oh, I just can we all just give my Aunt Dee Dee, Aunt Diana, a huge round of applause. Like, her heart, you can just feel it.
So sweet.
And honestly, anything that my Aunt Dee Dee touches, it prospers. And that's why, first of all, Alzheimer's has been on my heart since college. So back in my college days, I was part of a sorority, and our national philanthropy was the Alzheimer's Association. So we would volunteer, we'd fundraise, we'd volunteer at the Alzheimer's Walk in Tucson, Arizona. And, I was always thinking, oh, this is such a great cause. I pray that it never happens to someone in my family. And then, as you guys know, so this is my Uncle Larry, my Uncle Lorenzo, it happened to him. So it really, really hit close to home for me. And I just can't imagine living every single day with a loved one that you have to care for and love, but they're not fully present. While they're physically present, they're not mentally present, right? And it takes so much patience and faith and community to get through this. But the biggest thing is community. And that's why I'm so grateful that my Aunt Diana has cultivated a space where families that are suffering don't have to suffer alone. So my heart is just really in this. And I truly believe, like, when I heard she was starting this foundation, I was like, how can I help? Right. And because I'm so far away, I was like, finances is obviously one way we can help. Community, you guys all being here tonight, just spreading the word is another huge way we can help. So again, thank you all so much for being here. But I guess my kind of piece of the pie is, if we want these youth initiatives, the Lorenzo's Angels, Memory Academy, and Healing Spaces, they're not free. So we do need to kind of look inward and how we can give and make an impact, because it's when the community and the heart comes together with the finances that we can really make a true impact. So I guess my ask is that if you guys can, even if it's $10, whatever you're able to give will help so much. And like, I'm believing that we will see the fruits of our labor. Like, this is, 5-10 years down the road with all of our goals, we're going to get there, but it is going to take some finances and some donations. So that's kind of where I'm here to ask if you guys can kind of find it in your heart. Whatever you can give is much, much appreciated.
And
go ahead.
Yes, and I'd love to just, Becca doesn't want me to say this really, but I'm going to say it anyway, is that Becca, thank you, Becca, thank you. Becca calls me in August. Becca has, such an interesting career. Anyway, she moved to Dallas and she got her first paycheck, and she said, I would like to give $1,000 to Lorenzo's House. And of course her aunt's going, are you kidding me, Becca? Generosity is unbelievable. $1,000 is such a stretch and it's such generosity. And so I'm so grateful for that. And I am asking that tonight, if we can start to try to, how could we match that? Could we together collectively, $5, $6, it doesn't matter, share that with others. If we can match, I think that's the beam level, beaming with Becca. So thank you, Becca, for that. And this is, when I think about tonight and what it stands for is, I really care about when as an entrepreneur, you want to build and you want to build for the future. And it was so important to me this year that we put on something that brings young people together. And this to me is the beginning of a young professionals advisory board or event. Eventually, I would like to have several of these events in person or virtually, but eventually build out an advisory team at Lorenzo's house that can help lead us and guide us. Our young minds and the insight from our young people is so needed. And so that's the larger goal here going into 2022 is there a subset of tonight that says, yeah, I want to continue. I want to be on that young professionals advisory board at Lorenzo's house. So keep that in mind because we'll follow up with that. And I want to hand it back to Becca so that you can then do your handoff, right? I kind of took a left turn. I jumped in.
No, you're good. So if you do feel so inclined to give, you can just head over to lorenzoshouse.org and there should be a link right there where you can pay online. That's a huge way to support us. Now I'm going to be passing it over to my cousins, Lucas and Justin, and they're going to show you how you can follow us on social media, which is another huge way to support Lorenzo's House if you're not able to support with your finances. So I don't know if Justin or Lucas want to talk first, but handed it over.
Well, we just want to say how thankful we are for all you guys to come out here, and I know it means so much to me and my family, and to all the other families who are going through this as well. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. Make sure to follow us on socials, Lorenzo's House, Lorenzo's_house on Instagram. And thank you guys. Donate if you can, anything helps. Thank you for coming.